Chapter 2421, Where was safe? 2. Dabao and Erbao were different. Zai Sheng picked up the rice noodle strands with extremely good chopstick skills using both hands and fed his two sons at the same time. Dabao and Erbao hesitated for a while. They pouted and blew the rice noodle strands cold and only put them into their mouths when they felt that they weren't so hot anymore. As such, Qiaonan and Zai Sheng spent the time feeding their three children. There was no time for them to have a bite. Zai Sheng and Qiaonan didn't order anything for themselves in the end. After filling the stomachs of the three children, the family of five went through the security checks. After finding the boarding gate, they started to board the plane after sitting for a while. The three children thought that this was their first time boarding a plane and found everything fascinating. Thankfully, the three children were obedient and not naughty at all. They didn't cause trouble to anyone and just played by themselves. Among the three children, they called each other softly and touched each other's head and chubby hands. They entertained themselves well. In order to prevent the three children from thinking that the time on the plane was boring, Qiaonan brought all the storybooks that the three children liked, knowing that they wouldn't want to sleep on the plane. It could be said that in reality, this was the first time that Qiaonan and Zai Sheng relied on themselves to take care of the three children. When they were at home, Qiaonan always felt that their lives would be busy since she had given birth to three children at once. It was only when there was no one else to help take care of the three children did Qiaonan realize that it really wasn't easy for two people to take care of them. It was obvious that in comparison, their three children were obedient. They didn't run around at the airport. After boarding the plane, they didn't make a lot of noise and even played by themselves quietly. In the absence of such a situation, Qiaonan felt that it was extremely busy to take care of the three children at the same time. Qiaonan expressed that when they were at the Zai family, the help her parents-in-law provided her was really extraordinary. Without her parents-in-law's help, it was impossible for her to take care of the three children alone. After realizing this, Qiaonan suddenly said to the three children, "When we return to the capital to see Grandpa and Grandma, you must tell them it has been tough on them and that you love them, understand?" Sanbao blinked. "I love Grandpa and Grandma to begin with." Did she still have to say this? Sanbao, be obedient. If you say it out loud, Grandpa and Grandma would be happier. Do you want them to be happy? Qiaonan asked gently as she patted her daughter's head. Sanbao nodded obediently. "Yes. I want Grandpa and Grandma to be happy." "Mom, Sanbao loves you." "Sanbao, Mom loves you too." Mom loves Dabao and Erbao. When Dabao and Erbao, who were sitting next to their dad, heard their mom's words, their faces immediately bloomed like a flower. They grinned and couldn't hide their happiness. Dabao and Erbao thought for a while before saying to Zai Sheng in all seriousness, "Dad, love you too." Erbao was sitting in the middle. Dabao was sitting near the window while Zai Sheng was sitting by the aisle. Due to their seating positions, Erbao stretched out his little hand and grabbed Zai Sheng's elbow hard. He wanted to tell Zai Sheng with his actions that he similarly loved his dad. "The two of you are so mushy." Zai Sheng touched their heads. Although he seemed to dislike it, the happiness in his eyes couldn't deceive anyone. "If you want to drink water or go to the toilet, you have to tell me. I'll bring you there." Dabao and Erbao nodded obediently, expressing that they would remember to definitely tell him if there was any need. The family of five made it to lunchtime on this plane. Anyone who boarded a plane before would know that airplane meals didn't taste well most of the time. Before boarding the plane, the three children had already eaten what they liked. They weren't hungry now. However, Zai Sheng and Qiaonan, who had been busy taking care of the three children, didn't eat much. They couldn't possibly waste food regardless of if the airplane meals were delicious or not. Zai Sheng didn't care about the taste and finished the airplane meal in a few bites without frowning. Dabao and Erbao couldn't recover themselves in time. When they recovered themselves, they couldn't help but sigh. Dad had such a big mouth. He could finish a meal in a few bites. This was the first time Dabeo and Bao clearly felt the difference between both parents. Of course, Xiaonan didn't eat so quickly. She took bite after bite at her usual speed. As a foodie and a picky eater, when Sanbao saw that her mom had food to eat but she didn't, she couldn't hold back and said, "Mom, eat." Even if Sanbao's words were concise, how would Xiaonan, the mom, not understand what her daughter meant? Without explaining, Xiaonan gave a bite of her food to Sanbao. Sanbao frowned. She pouted and wanted to vomit. How would she like such a taste? Xiaonan guessed it in advance. She pinched Sanbao's small mouth and didn't allow her to vomit it out. "What did I teach you? One should know that every single grain on the plate is the fruit of hard work. You can't vomit it out after eating. You can only swallow what is in your mouth." Sanbao had to be given a lesson so that she wouldn't want to try everything the next time she saw something. After her mom became fierce toward her and there wasn't the grandma who was always there to help her, Sanbao sniffed and swallowed the food with grievances. After eating it, Sanbao even deliberately opened her mouth to let her mom check. She was obedient and had really swallowed the unpalatable food without wasting it. Xiaonan was naturally happy that Sanbao was obedient. Xiaonan kissed Sanbao's cheek. "Mom, Sanbao is the most obedient, just like Dabao and Bao. You're Mom's favorite people. I'm really happy to have 3 cute children like you." After being complimented by Xiaonan, Sanbao's negative emotions disappeared. She twisted her little buttocks and wanted to fall into her mom's arms. She also looked a bit shy. Dabao and Bao smiled happily. At the same time, what they thought of was that fortunately, their dad had eaten his food quickly. Before they got to ask for a bite, he had already finished eating. Otherwise, they would be as unlucky as Sanbao to eat unpalatable food. The brothers acknowledged Sanbao's taste toward food. They felt that Sanbao would eat delicious food but not unpalatable food. It was also because Dabao and Bao knew how much of a picky eater Sanbao was that they were willing to hand over the decision-making power to Sanbao. Chapter 2422, Where was safe? 3. Firstly, Grandpa and Grandma said that they were older brothers and had to take care of Sanbao more. They let Sanbao decide things. Of course they had taken care of Sanbao. Secondly, Sanbao wouldn't choose food that wasn't delicious. They could rest assured considering Sanbao's taste. They had the image of a good brother and wouldn't miss out on delicious food. They had really planned well. It wasn't far from the capital to Pingcheng. It took the family of 5 approximately 3 hours to reach their destination. After getting off the plane, Sanbao asked sweetly, "Dad, Mom, where are we going for delicious food? You're hungry again?" Xiaonan looked at Sanbao incredulously. Before boarding the plane, Sanbao had finished a big bowl of rice noodles alone. At the beginning, Xiaonan thought that the 3 children wouldn't be able to finish a person's portion of food and that she and Zisheng were going to eat their leftovers. What surprised Xiaonan was that she had underestimated their appetite. The 3 children finished her portion of rice noodles and left her with only some soup base. They had only been on the plane for a short while. Aside from leaving their seats to go to the toilet for a while, the 3 children didn't do anything else on the plane. Who would have thought that the moment her feet touched the ground, the first words Sanbao said were "where to eat"? Xiaonan felt helpless about her daughter's eating nature. "Sanbao, tell Mom. Are you really hungry?" "Hungry?" Sanbao nodded and pointed to her stomach. Unsatisfied. Xiaonan looked at Dabao and Bao. They seemed to know what their mom was silently asking and nodded, expressing that like Sanbao, they were hungry. Without a word, Zisheng carried both children in his arms. "Let's queue up to get our luggage first before finding food to eat." The 3 children were growing up. It wasn't surprising that they ate quickly and got hungry quickly. If they were hungry, eat. If they weren't, it was alright as long as they weren't feeling bloated. Dabeo and Erbao were happy to be carried by their strong and tall dad. They kept kicking their legs and turning their heads around to watch the excitement. There was no choice. Qiaonan could only be like Zai Sheng and carry Sanbao. Don't look at Zai Sheng carrying 2 children while Qiaonan was carrying only 1. The problem was that Sanbao loved to eat and the flesh on her body wasn't a joke. At this time, Zai Sheng stopped in front of Qiaonan with his back facing her. Place Sanbao on my neck. I'll carry her. Shouldn't you carry her in your arms? Wouldn't it be too dangerous if she was on his neck? It's all right. Get Sanbao to hold on to my head. She won't fall off. It wasn't that he didn't feel heartache for his daughter. Sanbao liked to sit on her dad's neck as that was the highest position which could make Sanbao see afar better. When they were at home, they did this often behind Qiaonan's back. There was no choice. Hu asked Qiaonan to feel that it was unsafe and she was worried that the weight of the 3 children would be on Zai Sheng, thus tiring him. However, the 3 children, who often did this behind Qiaonan's back, didn't find this unfamiliar at all. This was the case especially for Sanbao. If Qiaonan didn't help her, upon seeing Zai Sheng's action, Sanbao would have automatically wanted to climb to her dad's neck like a little monkey. Seeing that Sanbao was so bold, she was afraid that other accidents would happen. As she was also worried that Zai Sheng would be tired from carrying their 2 sons, Qiaonan could only help Sanbao sit on his neck. Be careful, Sanbao. You have to hold on tightly and not move around. If you're disobedient, I'll hit your buttocks. Sanbao was excited to sit on her exclusive throne. She nodded like a chick pecking at rice. Yes. She was holding on tightly. Her elbows were strong. If she held on tighter, Zai Sheng would feel that his biological daughter was strangling him. After taking their luggage, Qiaonan thought that it would be troublesome for their family of 5 to find a suitable place to eat. She didn't expect to see Zai Hua after dragging their luggage out. The 3 children obviously recognized Zai Hua. After calling her, Sanbao rushed towards Zai Hua with her small luggage. Aunt. Although Zai Hua had Jiajia as a daughter, Jiajia was already grown up. The things that happened to Jiajia when she was young were too far away from Zai Hua. Once she saw Sanbao rushing toward her, Zai Hua's inner motherly instincts were suddenly awakened. She held on to Sanbao as if she was her treasure. Sanbao, you haven't seen Aunt for a long time. Do you miss me? Sanbao stretched the word's intonation sweetly. Yes. When Zai Sheng and Qiaonan, who were walking behind, saw Zai Hua's satisfied look, they were pretty kind-hearted not to remind Zai Hua that the reason why Sanbao was so affectionate to her was not that she missed her, but that she knew she was in a treat soon since they were picked up by their aunt. Dabao, Erbao, come here. Let me hug you. After hugging her niece, she couldn't miss hugging her nephews. Their Zai family wasn't biased toward girls. The 3 children were so good-looking. Zai Hua liked them so much that she felt that they were her biological children. Due to Jiajia's obsession with her younger siblings, there were a couple of times that Zai Hua nearly said that since they had 3 children, they could pass her one so that she could raise him or her up well. Thankfully, Zai Hua wasn't a fool. She knew that Zai Sheng and Qiaonan wouldn't agree to this, and this wasn't beneficial to the children's growth. Although she did have such thoughts, Zai Hua didn't say this out loud, lest they hurt each other's feelings. However, everything was good now. Her brother and sister-in-law had returned to Pingcheng with the 3 children. She could fulfill her duties as a host and spend more time interacting with them. Indeed, they were triplets. Even before they managed to communicate with Sanbao, Dabao, and Erbao had already guessed Sanbao's thoughts. As such, in the face of Zai Hua, the aunt who was about to treat them to a delicious meal, Dabao and Erbao were enthusiastic. They kept telling her that they missed her, charming Zai Hua until she nearly couldn't recognize directions and had to be led out of the airport by Zai Sheng. Xiao Nan patted San Bao's buttocks and warned the three children not to be too overboard. If they continued this, they might not be able to eat the delicious food that they longed for. After knowing that Zai Hua's heart was on the three children and her IQ and EQ were offline, Zai Sheng asked Zai Hua for the car key after putting the luggage in the car trunk. "Let me drive." "Sure." Zai Hua couldn't wait for that. Xiao Nan sat in the passenger seat. "I'll carry San Bao." "No need." Zai Hua waved her hands. "How much space would the three children occupy? They can sit with me in the back. It's safe." Chapter 2423, Returning to Pingcheng, 1. Xiao Nan and Zai Sheng immediately became speechless. Safe? How was that the case? The triplets were still young. Based on their current ages, it was better for them to sit on child car seats. The problem was that when Zai Hua gave birth to Jiajia, child car seats had not been designed yet. Furthermore, Zai Hua was a scatterbrain and wasn't as meticulous as Jiajia. Only Zai Hua knew that the triplets had returned to Pingcheng with their parents. Jiajia didn't. As such, the careless Zai Hua only thought about picking them up from the airport. How would she, who didn't have any young children at home, think of the child car seats? If the couple didn't understand what kind of person Zai Hua was, they would have thought that Zai Hua was saying these words deliberately. There was a person who knew how his biological sister was like and another whose understanding of her sister-in-law wasn't shallow. As such, the couple didn't take Zai Hua's careless performance to heart and wasn't calculative. There are a lot of vehicles going back and forth on this road. Brother Zai wouldn't drive too quickly. It's better for me to carry San Bao. San Bao, do you want me to carry you? San Bao hurriedly stretched out her hand. Yes. She loved her mom carrying her. San Bao understood at times that De Bao and Er Bao often gave in to her as she was a girl. Actually, they were the same as her. They loved to be carried by their mom. Sister Zai Hua, you'll sit in the middle and take care of De Bao and Er Bao. De Bao, Er Bao, you have to be obedient and sit tight. She really couldn't trust her sister-in-law, Zai Hua. Xiao Nan could only get the three children to work harder. If their aunt wasn't reliable, they had to be reliable. Yes. Mom, I'm obedient. Even though they weren't carried by their mom, De Bao and Er Bao were still very obedient. Not only did they not throw tantrums, but they even listened to whatever Xiao Nan said. Zai Hua compared the three children's performance with her daughter, who was in the second year of high school. She sighed and said, I wonder if the three children would become rebellious and disobedient like their sister Jiajia when they grow up. When Jiajia was young, she was as cute as the triplets. However, when she grew up, she became rebellious. Zai Sheng and Xiao Nan looked at each other tacitly. With a mom like Zai Hua, it was already good that Jiajia grew up to be like this today. Zai Hua shouldn't have so many demands and high expectations of Jiajia. No matter how unreliable Jiajia was, that was inherited from Zai Hua. There was nothing wrong with the saying that whatever type of mother would have whatever type of daughter. Mom, is there anything good to eat here? After getting off the plane, they had been sitting in the car for more than half an hour. San Bao expressed that she was hungry and her stomach couldn't hold it back any longer as it started growling. De Bao and Er Bao also revealed looks of gluttony. They looked like puppies that smelled meat and were only short of drooling to show Xiao Nan how hungry they were now. You're that hungry? Zai Hua couldn't help but feel aggrieved for them. Along the way, the three children were chatting with her obediently and didn't complain that they were hungry. If San Bao didn't mention it, she wouldn't have noticed this situation. San Bao, shall we go to this restaurant? Knowing the children's habits, Xiao Nan held San Bao's hand and asked her as they stood in front of a barbecue shop. Upon seeing pictures of fragrant meat at the shop, San Bao swallowed her saliva. How fragrant! All right. There wasn't a need to select further. This restaurant would be it. One of the advantages of barbecued meat was that they had to be eaten while wrapped in fresh lettuce. Sanbeo usually didn't like to eat vegetables. However, at this time, Sanbeo didn't reject meat that was wrapped with vegetables. Afraid that the three children's stomachs couldn't take it, Xiaonan didn't dare to give them fresh lettuce directly. She always put them on the grill and only picked them up to wrap with meat when they were cooked and a little crunchy. Then, she fed the three children. When it came to taking care of children, Zai Hua and Zai Sheng were naturally less experienced than Xiaonan. Upon seeing how Xiaonan took care of the three children, Zai Hua and Zai Sheng each took charge of a child and filled their stomachs first. There was no choice. As parents, the first bite of food was destined not to enter their mouths. Thankfully, the three children were well educated by Xiaonan. After being half full, they started to let the adults eat as well so that they wouldn't go hungry. The full children had satisfied looks, which made people like them. Aren't the three children in our family too easily satisfied? How can they be so happy after having a barbecue meal? She was about to suspect if Zai Sheng and Xiaonan abused the three children behind their backs when they were in the capital. After being used to children who were difficult to coax, she looked again at the triplets who were so happy after a meal of meat. Zai Hua felt heartache. Her nephews and niece were so easy to coax and manage. In this way, Zai Sheng and Xiaonan didn't have to worry about them so much. Indeed, other people's children performed better. Thankfully, she was these three children's aunt. Zai Hua didn't understand the children's expression. As their parents, Xiaonan and Zai Sheng naturally understood. There were quite a number of adults taking care of the three children at home. To be honest, the three children had little opportunity to eat outside food. The elders in the family were worried that outside food was unclean, not nutritious, or loaded with message. To the three children, the experience of eating outside food was rare to come by, if at all. No matter what, she had given birth to the three children herself. Since Zai Hua felt that they were obedient, Xiaonan wasn't going to expose them. They like to eat meat. As long as it's meat, they would always reveal such expressions. What Xiaonan said was true. Perhaps quite a number of children were like this, where their preference for meat reached a certain level. Vegetables were the opposite of meat. Children would welcome meat as much as they rejected vegetables. Jiajia was already grown up. Zai Hua couldn't remember clearly how Jiajia was like when she was 2 years old. I've already gotten someone to clean the rooms. Stay for a night at home first. Talk about other matters only tomorrow. Nan, you shouldn't need this one day for your matter, right? Yes, I don't need it. Xiaonan had long planned this before returning. Since they were back, they had to make a trip to the Zai family's house in Pingcheng and let the three children recognize this family. Whether they remembered this or not could be talked about later. Undoubtedly, in the face of the Zai family's big house, the three children found it extremely novel. Mom, where is this? This is our house as well. This was where we used to live. Bao tried to think hard. Chapter 2424, Returning to Pingcheng, 2. Mom, I can't remember. Did we live here before? Why didn't he have any impression of this place before? After touching the tip of Bao's nose, Xiaonan replied, back then, the three of you were still in my stomach. Of course, you wouldn't remember anything. Look, this is your room. Xiaonan got pregnant with the triplets in Pingcheng but gave birth to them in the capital. It would be strange if the three children could recognize this place. It's true. There's our bed. Upon seeing that there was the same small bed that their house in the capital had, the three children were happy. It was definitely their house if their bed was there. Mom, are we staying here? Bao looked around. It turned out this was their house as well. Yes, we are. Xiaonan helped the three children change their shoes. We don't usually live here. However, aunt and sister Jiajia live here. Where's sister? Sanbao blinked. She had an impression of Jiajia. She still remembered how Sister Jiajia used to bring her around to play. She even helped her tie her hair and dress her up. Sister is in school. Shall I bring you to see her room? Zihua interrupted. All right. San Bao ran to Zihua and handed her chubby hand over to her so that she could hold her hand. De Bao and Bao followed up as well. At this age, De Bao and Bao liked to play with older children. Sister Jiajia was older than them, knew a lot of things, and understood a lot of words. In comparison to their mom, she paled just a little. However, she was very formidable. In the face of such a capable sister, De Bao, Bao, and San Bao liked Jiajia. San Bao ran into Jiajia's room. Sister's room. Yes, sister's room. Can I stay here? Zihua laughed. If your sister Jiajia was around, she can sleep with you. If no one sleeps with you, will you dare to sleep alone in a room, San Bao? San Bao thought for a while before quickly running to the middle of De Bao and Bao. She used her action to tell her aunt that she wanted to be in the same room as her brothers. Zihua, who had long guessed this outcome, wasn't surprised at all. Do you want to see my room? De Bao shook his head. No need. I'm thirsty. I'm thirsty too. Let's go down to have some water. The three children chatted among themselves and showed that they were not interested in Zihua's room at all. How were they curious about it like Jiajia's room just now? The three of you, Zihua was so angry that she laughed. Did they despise her, the aunt? Wasn't it just taking a look at her room? The three children used the excuse of wanting to drink water to leave. There was no choice. Zihua escorted the three of them downstairs and poured water for them. At this time, Xiaonan had already used the tools at home to boil water. It was now half cold. Indeed, you're a mom. Your three children just said that they were thirsty and you already have cool water prepared here. Zihua admitted with regret that she wasn't as good. Even if she was a mother of three like Xiaonan, she wouldn't have been so meticulous like her, let alone that she only had Jiajia as a child. No wonder her mom always said that the difference between people was huge. They were both mothers. However, the difference between them caused their children to suffer differently. What made Zihua thankful was that even though she wasn't as good a mother, Jiajia had already grown up. Although she wasn't as competent as Xiaonan as a mother, hadn't Jiajia grown up to be healthy? If she had to raise her child up like how Xiaonan did, she probably wouldn't know how to do it well. Mom! San Bao ran toward Xiaonan first and half leaned against her leg. Then, she started drinking water. After San Bao was done, it was Bao's turn, then De Bao's. The three children queued up obediently and didn't throw tantrums. Zihua was shocked. Nan, based on your capabilities, have you considered opening a kindergarten? Not only did Xiaonan know how to teach older children, but she also raised the younger children up to be so obedient. Really, it was a blessing for them and their parents to meet a teacher like Xiaonan. Not to mention others, Xiaonan had helped make Jiajia become obedient. It seemed that in Xiaonan's hands, a child at Jiajia's age wouldn't be rebellious and a child at the triplets' age wouldn't be cheeky. A person like Xiaonan was born to be a mother. No wonder her nephews and niece were raised well. One look at their faces and it was obvious they were leading a happy life. After feeding the three children water, Xiaonan rolled her eyes at Zihua. We already have so many children in our family. I'm already busy with ours and you want me to raise other people's children? Are you sure? If she were to raise so many children up, she wouldn't be able to care about Jiajia's matters anymore. In Xiaonan's opinion, aside from Jiajia and the triplets, the Zai family had quite a number of adult children. When the adult and younger children mingled, it would tire Xiaonan. If she were to raise other people's children, there was no doubt that she wouldn't be able to take care of her own. Zihua didn't understand Xiaonan's subtext. However, Zihua still valued Jiajia, her daughter. That's right. You're not lacking money and aren't short of things to do. You don't have to tire yourself like this. It's already enough for you to take care of the 4 people at home. She almost couldn't manage her only daughter, Jiajia. How would she be able to handle 4 people? As she thought about this, Zihua felt that her words just now were pretty silly. She couldn't even manage a child but wanted Qiaonan to manage a group. Based on their Zai family's conditions, Qiaonan didn't need to work so hard at all. Furthermore, it wasn't as if Qiaonan had nothing to do now. Oh right, where's Zai Sheng? She had already brought the 3 children upstairs for a tour and had already been downstairs for more than 10 minutes. However, she still didn't see Zai Sheng yet. Did he go to visit his comrade in arms the moment he reached Pingcheng? If that was the case, don't blame her for falling out with him. Were all men like this? Qiaonan shook her head. Sister Zihua, have you thought of what to eat tonight? Don't think that barbecue meal alone could satisfy the 3 children. Based on the speed that the 3 children were digesting their food, they would definitely cry out of hunger around 8 in the evening. Call for takeout, Zihua said casually. Before Qiaonan and Zai Sheng arrived, Zihua usually hired a part-time worker to cook a table full of dishes if Jiajia was at home. If Jiajia wasn't at home, Zihua would always order takeout for convenience. As such, Zihua was already used to it. Takeout. Chapter 2425, Returning to Pingcheng, 3. The foodie San Bao's eyes shone. She nearly wanted to bite her fingers. However, upon thinking that her mom said that she couldn't bite her fingers, she immediately put them down when they just reached her mouth. Mom, is it nice? That thing called takeout. Qiaonan was pretty convinced of her daughter's gluttony. It isn't nice at all. If it was, I would have long let the 3 of you try it. San Bao looked at Zihua. Aunt ate it. She would try not to eat food that wasn't delicious unless her mom forced her. Her aunt was already an adult. Could it be that she wasn't as sensible as her and didn't know that she shouldn't eat food that wasn't delicious? Qiaonan laughed. Your aunt's lazy. She'd rather eat food that wasn't delicious than prepare her own meals. San Bao stared at Zihua accusingly. Aunt, nice food. Forget it that her aunt didn't want to eat delicious food. She had to give her delicious food. If not, she would cry. De Bao and Bao stood next to San Bao and silently supported her, expressing that they wanted to eat delicious food as well. Their aunt was too stupid to always eat food that wasn't delicious. She wasn't as smart as the 3 of them. Zihua nearly laughed until she cried. What should she do? Her IQ was despised by her nephews and niece. So, if you aren't letting me order takeout, are you going to let Zai Sheng prepare dinner tonight? Zihua could understand why Qiaonan didn't let the 3 children eat takeout food. They were both mothers. Otherwise, Zihua wouldn't have deliberately found someone to prepare a table full of dishes for Jiajia when she was at home. She was too overjoyed today and had forgotten that she couldn't continue to order takeout as the 3 children were here. If her mom knew that she had treated the 3 children to some takeout, she could chase her all the way here to Pingcheng. With grandchildren, her daughter and son became invaluable. Brother Zai went to the market to buy fresh vegetables. They probably can't compare to the ones sold in the morning, but they'll be better than ordering takeout. Qiaonan had long considered this point. Of course, it was impossible for Qiaonan to get Zai Sheng to prepare this meal. The 3 children despised the food that Zai Sheng prepared. The first time they ate it, they were still willing to give him some face. From the second time onward, they started to turn their heads and were unwilling to eat it. Zai Sheng's cooking couldn't make it and Zihua didn't know how to cook. Of course, this meal would naturally have to be prepared by Qiaonan. Zihua slumped comfortably on the sofa. It's such a nice feeling to have someone cook in the family. She could even save on the call to hire part-time workers. Oh right, how long will you be staying in Pingcheng? This was related to how long she could enjoy home-cooked food. Also, once Jia came home from school, she would definitely be elated to see her younger siblings here. This could be a surprise for Jia. Based on the current situation, probably a week before Qiaonan arrived, the team that she formed had already done some of the inspection works and handed her the results. Qiaonan made a personal trip here just to verify the facts. A week. It's a little short, but that's not bad. Coincidentally, Jia's coming back this weekend. Zihua calculated with her fingers and was still satisfied with this answer. If it were next week, Zihua could imagine how Jia would throw tantrums at her upon knowing that the three children had returned to their home in Pingcheng, but she wasn't given the opportunity to interact with them. It was really her blessing to have given birth to such a bad-tempered daughter. While Qiaonan was chatting with Zihua, the three children ran around the house as if they were explorers. The three children realized that the house was big. Compared to the other house, there was more space for them to run around here. What made the three children happy was that there was a grass patch outside the house. It was their own grass patch, not the one in the park. Dad. Bao, who almost wanted to roll around on the grass patch, saw Zai Sheng return from buying vegetables. He rushed over happily and said, "Grass patch. Roll around." Zai Sheng's hands were full and he didn't have an extra hand to carry his son. "Be obedient. We won't roll around today." "Where's Mom?" Bao pointed to the house, expressing that his mom was in the house chatting with his aunt while the three of them were playing here. When Zai Sheng went to buy vegetables, he remembered to lock the door before leaving. As such, the three children could only play at home and not run out. Zihua and Qiaonan knew this point very clearly. Thus, they let the three children run around happily. "Dad's going to bring the vegetables in. Are you going to enter the house with me or continue playing outside?" Bao hurriedly ran away from Zai Sheng and ran toward De Bao and San Bao. It was obvious that the three children were more interested in the yard outside the house. They resisted plucking the grass and flowers. However, it was still all right to touch them. After knowing the three children's attitudes, Zai Sheng locked the door once again. After knowing that they couldn't run outside, he brought the vegetables in and placed them in the refrigerator. Thankfully, Zihua was never the kind of woman who stayed at home. Such a huge refrigerator was empty. No matter how many vegetables Zai Sheng bought, there was still more than enough space in the double-door refrigerator for him to use freely. However, Zai Sheng couldn't help but criticize Zihua because of this situation. "It has been tough on Jia to follow a mom like you." Zai Sheng suspected how Zihua had lived in those 10 over years when she hadn't gotten a divorce from Wei Di. How did Zihua survive when there wasn't takeout in the past? She couldn't possibly let Jia prepare her own meals, right? Zihua smiled and didn't explain too clearly. Zihua had a relatively wilder character. It wasn't that she liked to play around, but she was manlier. She liked to stay in the army and do what men did. Under normal circumstances, Zihua wasn't interested in what women did and might even despise it. Zihua couldn't remember how many things she had done that she didn't like and how many times she had given up things that she liked after marrying Wei Di. Zihua's culinary skills were really nothing. Thankfully, Jia was sensible and obedient. She was never picky and wouldn't feel resentful. Coupled with the fact that Wei Di wasn't home, Jia would eat whatever Zihua prepared. It was different now. After getting a divorce from Wei Di, Zihua could be said to be liberated. She no longer needed to do things that she didn't like. Zihua really hated preparing meals, and she hated going into the kitchen even more. The Zai family's house was built a long time ago, and it wasn't convenient to demolish anything. Otherwise, Zihua would have ideas about the kitchen. Chapter 2426, To be Understanding, 1. If Jia was around, Zihua would rather hire someone to prepare a table full of dishes than cook herself. If Jia wasn't around, she would order takeout, which was more convenient. Jia didn't feel that there was anything wrong with what Zihua did. If there was something delicious, who would be willing to torture one's mouth and insist on eating food that wasn't delicious? Furthermore, Jia also knew what her biological mother liked to do. She had already gotten a divorce and just didn't like to enter the kitchen. That was nothing, as long as Zihua was living happily. Jia wasn't picky. Zihua had nothing else to think about. Her old age made it unsuitable for her to return to the army. She might as well do business with her childhood friends and be a rich second-generation heir so that she could earn more money for Jia's dowry. The mother-daughter pair led a comfortable and casual lifestyle. It was precisely because of this that Zai Sheng and Qiao Nan encountered this situation when they were at the Zai family. If Zihua wasn't living in the Zai family, based on the situation that the refrigerator had nothing but water, people would generally suspect if this house was occupied. How is it? After living in the capital for a few years, do you feel that the house in Pingcheng is great? Zai Sheng was complaining that the Zai family's house didn't feel alive after Zihua stayed in it. Zihua retaliated by saying that life in the capital wasn't as good as in Pingcheng. There was no choice. The air quality in the capital was really bad. There were often sandstorms and haze. Every time she saw such news, Zihua's first reaction was that her nephews and niece were living in the capital. It was really pitiful for them to live in such an environment at a young age. The triplets should be able to live and grow up healthily, right? Zihua had such worries. Jia had them too. It was just that when Jia asked such a question, Zihua would retaliate and say, "It isn't as if there's no one else living in the capital. The annual rate of newborns in the capital isn't low. So many children are leading a good life. The children of our Zai family would only be healthier than those children. Don't utter nonsense. It's easy for people to misunderstand them. No matter how poor the air quality was in the capital, other people's children were also children. If they could grow up healthily, why couldn't their family's children do the same? Perhaps they had thought too much and worried too much." After being comforted by Zihua like this, Jia dispelled the thought of wanting to bring her younger siblings back to Pingcheng. Qiao Nan had left Pingcheng for almost 3 years. During these 3 years, Qiao Nan pretty much didn't return. Zihua found it particularly interesting that the 3 children were amused by the large grass patch in the Zai family's courtyard. These 3 chubby children were her brother's children. Zai Sheng wasn't so cute when he was young. He liked to lecture people with a stern face from a young age. She often couldn't tell who the older sibling was and who the younger one was. She had to say that it was indeed Zai Sheng taking care of Zihua most of the time, not Zihua bringing Zai Sheng out to play. The scene of the sister-brother pair interacting seemed to be close at hand. In the blink of an eye, her brother's 3 children were the same age as them in her memories. Her daughter was already a high school student. As time passed, people aged. When are Dad and Mom returning for their retirement? Zihua didn't go to the capital because she knew that Zai Yayawai and Miaojing would definitely return to Pingcheng to live the rest of their lives. After all, fallen leaves return to the roots. Just take old Master Zai as an example. Zihua decided to stay in Pingcheng and live in the Zai family's home so that it would be convenient for her to take care of Zai Yayawai and Miaojing in the future. By then, Zai Sheng would definitely still be developing himself in the capital with Qiao Nan and wouldn't return in a few years. That meant that Zihua would be the only person left to take care of Zai Yayawai and Miaojing then. However, Zai Yayawai and Miaojing were reluctant to leave the triplets and hadn't mentioned this topic yet. Zihua didn't dare to ask them directly. Since Zai Sheng was here today, there was naturally nothing for Zihua to be polite to her younger brother about. Thus, she asked about Zai Sheng's plans. Let's see their decision. Zai Sheng didn't give Zihua a definite answer. The big hospital in the capital isn't bad. Dad and Mom can get better care there. Most importantly, which you should have already guessed, Dad and Mom are reluctant to leave the 3 children. The 3 children couldn't leave his and Nan Nan's side. How would the 2 elders, who were reluctant to leave their 3 grandchildren, be willing to stay in Pingcheng for the rest of their lives. They delayed the situation year after year, saying that they would see how things went. Until today, there wasn't a conclusion. Zihua held her head with her hand. Seeing how Qiaonan was rushing in and out of the kitchen, the empty house became more alive instantly because of the addition of Zai Sheng's family. I've already guessed that Dad and Mom probably don't want to return. Thankfully, you're lucky to have married such a good wife like Nan Nan. Until now, she didn't mention that she would go out and find a job. With her around, even if Dad and Mom want to stay in the capital for the rest of their lives, both of us could feel at ease. The Zai family's situation fulfilled the condition that there were both the young and old at home. Elders like Zai Yaowai and Miaojing couldn't be separated from the care of juniors. If the elders encountered any situation, they had to have relatives by their side to take care of them and deal with all matters. Also, children like the triplets couldn't be separated from the care of adults at all. With the old and the young, Qiaonan really couldn't go out to work and try another lifestyle that was more self-centered. If not for Qiaonan being a good daughter-in-law, the people suffering now would have been Zihua and Zai Sheng. The better and more filial Qiaonan was, the more energy Zihua and Zai Sheng could save. Seeing Qiaonan's busy back view, Zai Sheng's gaze was gentle and carried with it strong emotions. I've always known that marrying Nan Nan is my greatest blessing in this lifetime. I don't need you to remind me. Zihua didn't need to remind him how much Qiaonan had sacrificed for him and this family. Zai Sheng knew it clearly in his heart. With Qiaonan as his wife, even if they had been married for 30 or 300 years, he wouldn't feel bored or tired with their couple life, let alone that they were married for only 3 years now. Regarding their married life, the only thing he felt was panic. Time passed by day after day and was irreversible. This also meant that he had less time to spend with Qiaonan. Sometimes, Zai Sheng uncharacteristically snatched Qiaonan from the 3 children as he was influenced by this situation. Everyone's time was limited. In the face of limited time, Zai Sheng cherished every minute and second of his married life with Qiaonan. "Mom, I want to eat fruits." Zai Sheng couldn't do without Qiaonan, his wife. The 3 children couldn't do without her, their mom. Chapter 2427, To be Understanding, 2. When it was time for fruits, the 3 children didn't play. They ran toward the kitchen where their mom was and surrounded Qiaonan, asking her for fruits to eat. Would Qiaonan not know her own children's habit? After cutting the ripe bananas that Zai Sheng bought back into sections, she put a section into each of the 3 children's mouths. "Let's go. Let's eat together with Dad and Aunt outside." After bringing out the fruit platter and putting it on the table, Zihua was shocked. "Nan Nan, wasn't it just cutting some fruits? Did you have to arrange them so beautifully? There are chickens, ducks, and pigs. Are you planning to create a zoo here? How convenient was it to just bring them out after cutting the fruits? It took quite a lot of time and effort to arrange them in such a manner." However, Qiaonan didn't find it tiring. Furthermore, they were all going to be eaten. Was it important how they were arranged? Not at all. No matter how nicely arranged they would be digested after entering the stomach. By then, one wouldn't be able to distinguish the pulps from the juices without scientific instruments, let alone patterns. As a person who was too lazy to enter the kitchen and relied on takeout for meals, Zihua naturally couldn't understand why fruits had to be cut the way Qiaonan did. Qiaonan smiled and ate together with the children. She didn't explain much to Zihua. As an adult, it wasn't an issue to eat the whole fruit by itself, let alone cut it. The problem was that Qiaonan had 3 children. Thus, their moods had to be considered. They were similarly eating fruits. If one were to arrange the fruits in a more beautiful manner, the children's interest would naturally become higher. As they ate, they would recognize which was a duck and which was a pig. Even if Qiaonan didn't explain it, Zihua already had an answer when she saw the 3 children huddled together eating fruits enthusiastically. At this time, Zai couldn't help but admit that Zai Sheng's words were true. As a mom, she had it easy. Compared to the triplets, Jia had suffered grievances in terms of the way she was brought up. No wonder every time Jia went to the capital, aside from playing together with the three children, she loved staying with her aunt, Xiaonan, the most. Perhaps only a mother like Xiaonan would fulfill all the children's fantasies on the role of a mother. Was this what an ideal mother meant? Mom, wash. After having fruits, especially the red dragon fruit, the three children's hands and faces were simply so dirty that they couldn't be seen. As the three children couldn't grip the fruits firmly in their hands and had the habit of dripping juice, Xiaonan generally didn't like to prepare this kind of fruit for the three children. However, who asked such fruits to be nutritious and her own children loved them? In the face of the children's preferences, juice being easy to stain and not easy to wash wasn't a problem. What was most important was that the children ate them. As such, not only did the children wear bibs during their 3 meals a day, but they also wore them when they were eating fruits. After seeing that the three children were full, Zai Sheng no longer chatted with Zai Hua. Instead, he stood up and accompanied the three children to the toilet with Jiaonan. He helped them wash their faces and hands and soak their dirty bibs into water. Zai Sheng would naturally be the one to wash them soon. Based on how Zai Sheng was taking care of the three children, Zai Hua knew that he didn't take care of the three children any lesser when they were at home. 5 years ago, she had urged Zai Sheng to get married quickly and have children. Zai Sheng was unwilling and kept reminding her to raise Jia, her daughter, up well first. Now, Zai Sheng was more competent than anyone else as a father. As he stayed by Xiaonan's side, Zai Sheng learned how to be a father and a son. It could be seen that finding the right companion was really important for a couple. Unlike her, after marrying Wei Dai, he forced her to learn how to become a mother. However, she couldn't play this role well no matter what. Full. After the three children's faces were wiped clean by Xiaonan and Zai Sheng, Zai Hua hugged Sanbao in her arms and bit her fleshy face. After being kissed, Sanbao couldn't even pout and she frowned. "Aunt, bad." After complaining for a while, Sanbao twisted her little body and wanted to get down from Zai Hua's arms. The Zai family would naturally be close to the three children. However, after they grew up, they had their own thoughts. If you kissed them lightly, they might still accept it. If you kissed them too forcefully and they felt unhappy or uncomfortable, they would never let you kiss them again. Now, Zai Hua became part of Sanbao's blacklist. Dad, Carrie. This little girl was quite clever at this time. Sanbao felt that this aunt was stronger than her mom. She was afraid that her aunt wouldn't let her go and her mom couldn't snatch her away from her. As such, she blinked and stretched out her arms toward her dad, wanting him to carry her. Yes, Dad was taller and stronger than Aunt. He would definitely be able to save her from Aunt's arms. Mom said that Dad was part of the People's Liberation Army. He was the most formidable character in this world. There was nothing a formidable person like her father couldn't do. How would her aunt be her dad's match? Needless to say, in San Bao's, De Bao's or Er Bao's heart, the image of Zai Sheng as a father was as brilliant as a hero. They believed in him and worshipped him. After encountering difficulties, Sanbao naturally had to find her dad, the hero, for help and rescue her from this bad aunt's hands. Zai Sheng rolled his eyes at Zai Hua and carried his chubby daughter over. What kind of habit is this? Did you do this when Jia was young as well? Zai Hua laughed and didn't answer. No matter how cute or likable her daughter was, she would definitely be merciful when kissing her. Furthermore, at that time, Zai Hua had already understood that the married life with Wei Dai was completely different from what she had imagined. Her mood became different. The results that Zai Hua saw were also different. How would she be so relaxed like now? She simply liked Sanbao's chubby face too much. Zai Hua couldn't suppress her inner desires and had kissed her too hard. To be honest, the feeling of that bite was really extraordinary. It was fleshy and bouncy. It was also fragrant and smoother than tofu. If Sanbao hadn't been taken away by Zai Sheng, Zai Hua felt that she would definitely take a few more bites of Sanbao's face. Of course, Zai Hua knew her limits as well. If she had really used too much force, Sanbao wouldn't have asked her dad to carry her. Instead, she would have cried and asked her dad to avenge her. Chapter 2428, To Be Understanding, 3. After knowing that Zai Hua was bullying his daughter, the way Zai Sheng looked at Zai Hua became unfriendly. Zai Sheng understood that Zai Hua was taking revenge as he had controlled Zai Hua too much when they were both young. Every time the two of them exchanged moves, he had never gone soft on her and would just win whenever he could. She was really... It had been decades, but she was still so childish and wanted to seek revenge by bullying children like Sanbao. In the face of such a Zai Hua, Zai Sheng was really not too willing to admit that she was older than him and he had to address her as his older sister. He felt that if he put his 3 children together with Zai Hua, his 3 children might even be more sensible than her. Zai Hua was really regressing as she grew older. Sanbao wiped the saliva on her face in disdain and looked at Zai Sheng with grievances. Ants bad. Smelly. Sanbao's face is dirty. She had just found her sense of presence from Sanbao and had taken revenge against Zai Sheng. Upon hearing Sanbao's words, Zai Hua nearly suffocated from anger. She actually despised her and said that her saliva was smelly. Indeed, she was Zai Sheng's daughter. No matter how young she was a brat. How would she be someone easy to bully? Seeing that Zai Hua was angry, Zai Sheng was naturally happy. Sanbao, don't be angry. I'll bring you to wash your face, all right. Sanbao nodded and tugged on Zai Sheng's clothes, urging him to hurry up. She was unhappy now and would only feel more comfortable after her face was washed clean. Zai Sheng didn't find this to be troublesome. After all, she was his biological daughter. Furthermore, Sanbao had retaliated against Zai Hua. Zai Sheng was happy to wait on his daughter. When Zai Sheng carried Sanbao away to wash her face in front of Zai Hua turned her attention to Dabao and Erbao. As triplets, the 3 children naturally had the same habits in certain aspects. Now that they were older, they knew how to run and talk, and started to dislike kisses from adults. Only Qiaonan, their biological mother, had the right to kiss them whenever she liked. Other people had to get the 3 children's consent before they could kiss them. If someone kissed them without their permission, they could lose their temper and not let that person get close to them. At a young age, they knew how to give someone the cold shoulder like adults. After seeing how Zai Hua had angered Sanbao with her kiss, Dabao and Erbao hurriedly stretched out their hands and covered their faces. They even hid behind Qiaonan, their biological mother. When Qiaonan was pregnant with them, she didn't grow any flesh. After giving birth to the 3 children and doing so many things, how would Qiaonan's figure be able to block both her sons' chubby bodies? Both brothers started to squeeze each other out. Sweat was nearly squeezed out from Qiaonan. Even if she wasn't sweating, the back of her clothes was already crumpled by her 2 sons. Left with no choice, Qiaonan turned around and hugged each son with an arm. Don't be anxious. Don't be scared. We'll ignore Aunt and hide from her. If she's here, we'll run away. If we can't run from her, we'll find Dad for help. Dad's formidable. Aunt can't win against him. If they continued to tug on her clothes, it would be torn to pieces soon. Dabao and Erbao leaned against Qiaonan's arms. They felt that Qiaonan was right and stopped playing hide-and-seek with Zai Hua. Dad! Dad! As Zai Sheng walked out carrying Sanbao, his 2 sons greeted him with unprecedented enthusiasm. Zai Sheng knew immediately that Zai Hua must have tried to lay a hand on Dabao and Erbao when he was gone. She was really... Are you 3 years old this year? Even Jiajia was more sensible than Zai Hua. Why was she so childish and shameless to bully the 3 children who were just 2 years old? Da da, Error. San Bao didn't stay in Zai Sheng's arms for long. She pounced toward De Bao and Bao. She felt safer when the three of them were together. Bao hugged San Bao as if he was experiencing heartache. He touched San Bao's face and blew air at the spot where Zai Hua kissed her. It's not painful anymore. The pain's gone. Zai Hua was nearly angered to death by Bao's words. Was she that detestable? She had personally verified it. These three children might look like little angels and were so cute that people couldn't wait to give them their hearts. However, when they were cheeky, their words were like knives and they were more formidable than the young Zai Sheng. Upon thinking that she had grown up like that with Zai Sheng when they were young and that she couldn't remember clearly how many times she was bullied by Zai Sheng, Zai Hua shed tears for herself back then. She was too pitiful. Zai Sheng was too cruel and inhumane to bully her when she was a child. What made Zai Hua happy was that she had married early and her daughter, Jiajia, was much older than the triplets. Based on the age difference between the four, it should be her Jiajia who could coax the three children. It was impossible for Jiajia to be like her, whose IQ was on par with that of the children and was thus bullied. As she thought about this, Zai Hua quickly remembered that Jiajia was obsessed with her younger siblings. One might not be able to bully the 2-year-old triplets who didn't know anything just because they were older. Based on how much Jiajia liked and valued the three children, she might just fight it out with whoever wanted to bully the three children. In the face of Jiajia, a daughter who had a shot at success in defeating them but would let this opportunity slip, Zai Hua thumped her chest and stamped her feet. What should she do? She seemed to have lost to Zai Sheng again. Even Jiajia couldn't win this round. Zai Hua looked depressed. Qiao Nan couldn't help but ask, "Brother Zai, what's wrong with sister Zai Hua?" She seemed to have suffered a huge blow. Her three children didn't do anything overboard, right? Even Jiajia knew their temper and that before kissing them, they had to ask them if they were all right with it. Could it be that Jiajia didn't share the triplets' habit with sister Zai Hua? What should she do? Sister Zai Hua was quite different in her dream. She couldn't see through sister Zai Hua after her divorce anymore. Qiao Nan, who didn't understand, hugged De Bao. She used De Bao's soft and fleshy body to calm her nerves. Zai Sheng placed Bao and San Bao in between him and Qiao Nan. He put his long arms back as if he was embracing Qiao Nan and the three children. As a woman without a man by her side, we have to understand if she's more bad-tempered and if her IQ drops a little. Chapter 2429, I have to head back, 1. Hearing Zai Sheng's dirty joke, Qiao Nan's first reaction was to glance at the three kids. After making sure that no one understood what Zai Sheng was saying, she pushed him away. Don't say such things before the kids. Sleep in the study room if I hear it again. Even if De Bao and Bao were boys, Qiao Nan didn't want her children to know too much at an early age. San Bao, especially, was a girl that Qiao Nan had pledged to protect from such things. The study room. San Bao was excited to hear it as she already understood what it meant when her mom asked her dad to sleep in the study room. Every time this happened, the kids could sleep with their mom. When her dad was home, it seemed like the only way that her mom would allow them to sleep together. Their dad was a bad person for stealing their mom away from them. How shameless of him to be doing it at his age. It seems like the relationship between you and your kids is not that sturdy, after all. It was Zai Hua's turn to mock Zai Sheng. Good job living up to the Zai family's name. Everyone in the family must have the courage to be lashing out at anyone. Perfect. If the three children only attacked Zai Hua as their father did, she would be discouraged. However, Zai Hua realized that the kids were not targeting her. Zai Sheng would end up as a victim as well. Although Zai Hua's position didn't change, she was still satisfied that Zai Sheng wasn't much better than her. In her heart, she was growing fonder of the children. San Bao's unintentional words were enough to bring Zai Hua such joy. Qiao Nan patted De Bao and signaled him to play with his younger siblings. Fine. She had to admit that the Zai family did have this trait, and she was the only normal one in the family. However, if she agreed with Zai Hua, it would mean that her children were the same. Qiaonan decided to remain silent. The brother and sister always had nothing pleasant to say. Hello. At this moment, Zai Hua received a phone call. Give me a moment. Covering the microphone, Zai Hua turned to Qiaonan. The guard says that your mother is visiting, should we let her in? No, Qiaonan refused. This was not a place that Ding Ji could set foot on, and Qiaonan wasn't going to break that rule. She knew that Ding Ji would do it again and again if she allowed it once. She had lost all trust in someone like Ding Ji, and she didn't want her to bring harm to her loved ones anymore. Tell her that I will be back in the Qiao family's house after having some rest. Chapter 2430, I have to head back, too. Since Ding Ji came back, Qiaonan knew that she had to visit her unavoidably. When Ding Ji was sent to the hospital thanks to Qiao Zijin a year ago, the neighbor helped her out. For that, Qiaonan had to pay them a visit to show her appreciation as well. Alright. The Zai family had agreed to follow Qiaonan's instructions on how to deal with the Qiao family. They would support whatever decision that Qiaonan made, simple as that. She didn't know how the guard managed to brush Ding Ji off, but it seemed like the latter didn't force herself in. However, there was nothing Qiaonan could do at this point. Since Ding Ji had found her way here, Qiaonan had to visit her right away. After all, Ding Ji was the one that gave birth to her. That was also the reason why Ding Ji had never realized her mistakes as she continued to take advantage of Qiaonan. At first, Zai Sheng wanted to follow Qiaonan. Of course, he just wanted to protect Qiaonan in case Ding Ji was to bully her. However, Qiaonan didn't let him. Zai Hua just got on the nerves of San Bao, and De Bao and Er Bao witnessed the devilish side of their aunt as well. At the moment, the kids dreaded being alone with their aunt. If their aunt were to mistreat them again, they would have nowhere to run. The kids understood the situation very well, so they grabbed onto their parents' hands and refused to let them leave. They wouldn't allow Zai Sheng and Qiaonan to leave them with their auntie. That was why Qiaonan decided that it was best to visit Ding Ji alone while Zai Sheng took care of the kids. It should be fine as long as one of them stayed. Qiaonan didn't want the kids to meet Ding Ji as she knew how short-tempered the kids were. Although they were young, they wouldn't let anyone stomp over them. If the kids felt Ding Ji's hostility, they would be sullen. Qiaonan felt that there was no need for that to happen. For the sake of the children, Zai Sheng could only follow Qiaonan's arrangements. Luckily, Ding Ji had already lost her control over Qiaonan 4 or 5 years ago. Now, Qiaonan had the capability to put Ding Ji in her place. Zai Hua, meanwhile, was listening to Zai Sheng and Qiaonan's conversation. Did they really have to call her devilish when she was still here? Were they really worried to leave the kids with her? Weren't they afraid that she would really do devilish things? If they wanted to say such things, couldn't they say it behind her back? She realized that Qiaonan might have seemed nice on the surface, but there was unquestionably something she had in common with Zai Sheng. The entire family of 5 certainly knew how to get on her nerves. In the end, Zai Sheng was assigned to look after the kids while Qiaonan visited the old neighbors with some gifts. The news of Qiaonan coming back soon spread across the neighborhood.